This is a major policy shift. It is a front-end legislative approval of a land exchange or transfer of state public lands. This is a big shift from the current policies that's been in place all these years, where we have to come in, review the executive branch's work, their due diligence, and their final decision on a land transfer.
Me personally, Mr. Speaker, my concern stems from the fact that this could get very political. We all know in this body that sometimes some people don't agree with, the representative from that district or whatnot, and it could end up being political, and that's the thing we want to avoid. By having it as a disapproval mechanism, it allows the legislature and the bodies in the legislature to have further discussion, regarding whether we need to disapprove the transaction. But now we're kind of going, and it requires a 2/3, which is a higher standard on the disapproval side. But here now what we're doing is we're actually shifting policy in a major way. And my concern really stems from the fact it could become highly politicized.
When you come to the legislature with a disapproval, you've already gone to the board. You've probably already done your appraisals. You've really invested a lot of staff time and a lot of efforts into the process. And in this body, we can always say that everything and anything is political. There's always going to people be for it or against it. But I think that what the bill's saying is if you take state land and you're negotiating with a private party and you want to do an exchange, it'd probably be really great for the community that's involved and for the legislative body and probably the representative or the senator from the district to understand what significant changes may be being put forth. And I want to point out to my colleagues that it says in here that the State Department or agency shall submit for introduction to the legislature a resolution for review of action on any exchange to be consummated by the board wherein exchange deeds will be executed by the parties together with the following information. And that's the important piece. The location and size, the value of the lands to be conveyed, the name or names of the appraiser or appraisers, the date of the evaluation, the purpose for which the lands are being exchanged, a detailed summary of any development plans for the land to be exchanged, and a statement of whether the land is or is not land that was leased, classed as government or crown lands previous to August 15, 1895, or was acquired by the state in exchange for such lands, and a detailed explanation of how the State Department or agency made this determination. If you do it by disapproval, that's the information you get after all that's done and after the agency's already gone to the path and they've actually done it. And then we come back and ask for disapproval. I've always thought that's the wrong way, and I really think this is the right way to do it. Thank you, Speaker.
Yeah, some of you will remember Gavin Dawes, who wrote Land and Power in Hawaii. He basically said, how you want to understand Hawaiian politics, look at the land, look at the ownership, look at the transfers, look at everything. This bill, Mr. Speaker, turns Gavin Dawes on his head. This says we can loosey-goosey just loosen the governance of our land and just let things go as they may. And one speaker previously said, well, this rarely happens. Mr. Speaker, there are 1.8 million acres that are being contested by the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. That's going to be a public transfer from the State of Hawaii corpus of land to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. So to say we're not going to be transferring public lands, what's that 1.8 million acres all about?
I agree with everything the previous speaker said, except for the fact that this is not a bill that loosens our control over public lands. It is a bill that tightens it and raises the threshold so that we meet our obligation to hold public lands in public trust per our oaths we took to uphold this Constitution. When we look at our ability to approve or disapprove a land sale, a disapproval process is very scary and very sketchy because it places the entire ability, the sole discretion, at the hands of one person, one particular committee chair. Because we have to take an affirmative action to pass something to disapprove of that process, it means that one person can stop that from happening and allow a sale to go forward. By turning this into an approval process, it means that you have to have the affirmative action of a majority of both houses in order to prevent something bad from happening.